of Maritime Spectrum. Mentoring across Maritime Sector is the theme. Thanking each one of you for taking our time and being present here today for this webinar. I would like to welcome our chief guest for today's session, Shri Amitabh Kumarji, IRS, the Director General of Shipping. Welcome to Mrs. H.K. Joshi, Chairman and Managing Director of the Shipping Corporation of India. Also welcoming the audience and the panelists, various sectors of the shipping. So in today's webinar, we will be covering the major aspects, that is the value of mentoring, which plays an important role in achieving the original goals. So please stay tuned in as we begin our session. Please go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I will just be taking you with the few of the do's and don'ts. Number one, please keep your mic at mute all times. Number two, keep your videos on shut mode. Number three, if anyone has any question, please put it in the chat to everyone. We will be in the backend team collating the questions and will be putting it up to our esteemed guest and panelist. Please keep the screen on speaker mode so to see the person speaking. Kindly, when you write a question, please put a question mark, because then there are so many people putting comments. It becomes easier to take out the question from there for the panelist. We thank you for your kind support. Saleha ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Captain Basin. Honorable Chief Guest, Director General of Shipping, Mr. Amitabh Kumarji. Esteemed Guest of Honor, Chairperson and Managing Director, SCI, Madam H.K. Joshi. Our special panelists for the day, representing the various organizations from the maritime industry, and all our members from the audience joining us today. A very good afternoon. We welcome you to today's webinar hosted by the Maritime Union of India on the theme of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is one big family. The topic being mentoring across maritime sector. The COVID pandemic has left the entire world grappling with uncertainty. It has led to emotional turbulence amongst people at large. For seafarers who are used to stress and a demanding work life, this situation has only snowballed into a bigger monster. And while the entire shipping and maritime world is struggling to keep things afloat, the unforeseen and abrupt disruption to life as we knew it has led to unfathomed complications with no easy solutions at hand. At such unprecedented times, it becomes the moral responsibility of administrations and employers to provide support to people and to uplift their spirits. Times of crisis present an opportunity to strengthen trust and understanding between the workforce and organizations. The thought process for today's webinar stemmed from a statement made by Shri Amitabh Kumarji at a recent webinar wherein he very insightfully suggested the coming together of the maritime industry on a common platform to prepare a paper outlining recommendations for mentoring. We are all aware of what mentoring is. Today, the value of mentoring is becoming increasingly recognized in almost every industry, mostly because of the impact mentoring and coaching can have on the achievement of organizational goals. This aspect will become more clearer as we move ahead with the session. So please stay tuned in. We would like to begin the session with Madam H.K. Joshi, Chairperson and Managing Director, the Shipping Corporation of India. Madam Joshi joined SCI on 5th February 2015 as Director Finance and was also appointed as CFO on the same date. During her term, she held multiple additional charges from time to time at the board level of Director Personal Administration, Director Bulk Carrier and Tankers, and CMD from 12 September 2019, consequent to completion of the tenure of the former CMD. Currently, Madam holds the additional charge of Director Finance with effect from 19 December 2019, when she was appointed Chairperson and Managing Director of the Shipping Corporation of India by the Government of India. Madam has received many accolades for her amazing work. The latest feather in her cap is that in her tenure, the SCI has shown amazingly positive results even in these challenging times. Madam Joshi has always been a source of inspiration to women in maritime and continues to be a strong mentor to one and all. I request Madam to please come forward and leave us with something new to look up to you.
Thank you, Saleha, so much. You've asked for something new which becomes challenging. But before I start my address, respected DG Shipping and all the honorable panelists who are here, I hope I can give you something new, and these pearls of wisdom will be well taken. Well, we are once again together on a virtual platform, and it's all due to the pandemic. So let's look at it differently today. Like Saleha said, I must give you something fresh and something new. So let's look at it differently. On a normal working day, at the peak of the afternoon, would we have been able to get together in these numbers? I don't think so, considering that the challenges one has with respect to the different type of programs that take place. Sometimes it becomes very challenging and you've got to choose what program you want to attend, what you don't want to attend. However, this challenging times has given us this opportunity, and I think there is a silver lining to the cloud. And every cloud, of course, has a silver lining. It's a matter of your perception. It's always possible that you can look at things differently. You can see a half glass full, or you can see a half glass which is empty. It all depends upon your own outlook. However, the way you look at things basically determines whether you are an optimist or you are a pessimist. When these challenging times come, they of course bring in more responsibility for those who are strong enough, because it's their responsibility then to help uplift those who are not so strong. And I think adversities basically bring on an opportunity. There are plenty of hidden opportunities, and it is for the people who are ready to take on challenges that can find these hidden opportunities. And in this context, at this stage, I would like to compliment MUI for bringing on all of us together on this platform with a very, very apt subject in today's context. And as I just learned that DG Shipping was the mentor behind having this wonderful concept. So I think this concept becomes very relevant in today's context of a pandemic, where we are talking of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means we all are one big family. Now, when we look at problems facing us, and when we look that there are some people who are stronger and who have a responsibility, then I think we go back, have a little bit of a flashback back to 23rd of March when the lockdown was announced. I think initially what happened was we were all really elated. We were in a euphoria. Oh, work from home, have the freedom to do what you want to do, when you want to do it. And of course, no fatigue of commuting, etc., etc. But what happened after a little while passed away? That euphoria started fading away. And I think this is something which is very, very logical. If you go back to Charles Darwin and his theory on actualization, you see what happens when you achieve a certain level of satisfaction or satiation, then you automatically want to move on to the next level. So initially, when the pandemic broke out and we were all scared of the safety and security of our own self and our families and our very near and dear loved ones, so we were very elated about the lockdown. But slowly, when our confidence started building up and we realized that we have the confidence to handle this pandemic and we are safe, when that confidence increased, we wanted to reach out, and then we started getting restless, and we said now things should be opened up, the economy should be opened up, we should be allowed to get out of our houses and reach out, come back to normal life. Now, does that mean that we don't love our family so much? No, I don't think so. It's a question of extended family, and that is where the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam comes up. You have your immediate family. Once you've met the needs, seen the safety and security. Initially, the challenges were whether we would be able to get food and groceries, etc., etc. Once we were comfortable on all these fronts, we've actualized on that level, and we want to now move on to a higher level of actualization when we want to reach out to other people who are there. And there comes the need of an extended family. I always talk about SCI as my family. It's not as if I have a small family. I've got a substantially large family. But I think it's a question of your commitment. It's a question of your involvement, how passionate you feel about things. And to that extent, I feel that even though I've been in the maritime fraternity only for 5 years, the passion that I feel for this industry, the involvement that I have, is because I consider it to be an extended family. So therein comes the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now, when there are adversities, then that is the time when we actually come to know our true self. Many times in a normal situation, you may not know which side you are inclined with. You can always look at a half glass full, or you may look at a half glass empty. Well, both of them are realities. But the fact remains that both of them are half truths. None of them is a complete truth. And it depends upon your inclination, which side you are inclined towards. And your inclination actually sets the context and changes the entire outlook of how you look at things. And in these adversities, I think this is where the people with a certain positive inclination, we all know we call them as optimists, and there are others who are not so positive because of various reasons. And that is where I'll now come to this main topic of today's discussion, which is on mentoring. There are some of us who are strong enough, and it is our duty to ensure that we are always available to those of us who are not so strong, and we are always ready to help. And once again, it's the question, your Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and your mentoring is a very intertwined, deeply interrelated subject, as I would say, because only if you are ready to go beyond your immediate family, if you have an extended family, what is your emotional content, what is your capacity to reach out, that determines the extent of your extended family. However, I think one thing which has emerged very clearly in the pandemic is that the me has got inversed or reversed into a we. You cannot today consider only about me, I. The context has become much larger because you are not safe until and unless everybody around you is safe. And that is how the me has become we. We need to look after not only physically, psychologically, emotionally, about everyone around us, so that we are all a healthy community and we all grow together. Now, mentoring can be of various kinds, depends. And I don't say that mentoring has to be only from the seniors to the juniors. There is also a concept of reverse mentoring. I would say I'm always open to learn from any side, from any angle. And many times I actually learn from my own children. And I think the youth has a lot to teach us, and we've got to be open-minded. So it cannot generally be a mentoring from the top down. It could be a reverse mentoring as well. I think what together we can do with the entire maritime fraternity is we've got a lot of experience and talent which comes naturally with the years of experience which is there. While the young have got brilliant ideas, So we should be able to marry the experience and the talent with the young ideas which come in, and that will make a very good teamwork. I would say, if you are good enough for yourself, sorry, I apologize if I hurt anybody, but you are actually good for nothing. You are good only if you can give something of yourself out to the others. And I like to bring my address to an end by a small quote from Henry Todd in his book, which is Die Empty. He says, don't go to your grave with your best work inside you. Choose to die empty. I hope we all go that path and share all that we have within us with the community for making this world a better place to live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Joshi, for those inspiring words. Your statement, especially the me turning into we, is very relevant in today's times. Thank you once again. Our chief guest for the day, Director General of Shipping, Shri Amitabh Kumarji, is with us. Shri Amitabh Kumarji assumed the charge of Director General of Shipping and Additional Secretary to the Government of India on 10th April 2019. He is the recipient of the Exceptional Contribution Award for the stellar role played by civil servants in implementation of good governance in the country, conferred to him during the Governance Awards of 2014. Prior to being appointed as the DG of Shipping, he was a Principal Commissioner of Income Tax between August 2014 and August 2015 at August 2004 and August 2015 at New Delhi and Vadodara. Shri Amitabh has been a beacon of light to the entire maritime industry. During the current COVID-19 pandemic, he has been at the forefront to assist the entire shipping industry and the seafarers in particular. His support and role at this hour of need is truly commendable. May I now request our chief guest, Shri Amitabh Kumarji, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate MUI for selecting a wonderful subject which is very relevant for the present times, but does not restrict itself am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So it is very relevant for the present time, but it does not restrict itself to COVID-19. Of late, whatever webinars we have had has very limited scope in terms of discussions and learnings. But this one is fairly wide. Both the parts of the theme, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and mentoring. Mrs. Joshi has already covered most of the aspects very succinctly. There is not much to add. I just wanted to say I'm not very good in Sanskrit and have always been a very reluctant student of Sanskrit even in school. But this is one shlok that always, struck you as for its words of wisdom. That is, Ayam Nija Paroveti Ganana Laghu Chetsam Udar Charit Manastu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is the complete shlok. And for those who don't understand, it means that this is mine and this is yours. This kind of calculation is done by people with very small heart. For those who have large heart, for them, Vasudhaiva is the Kutumbakam, the world is yours. COVID-19 has shown us that we just cannot survive on our own. We cannot say that this is mine, I am safe, and that is enough for me. Because there is no way that you will be safe if the world is not safe. Any attack by virus tells you that you cannot think only of yourself. And if you think only of yourself, you will neither have yourself nor the world. Of great wisdom coming from our ancient texts. And this is how in India we think. We don't really think only of ourselves. We think of our smaller family, we think of the larger family. Mrs. Joshi kept talking of the larger family. And we also think of the wider world. And if we are unable to do anything for the wider world, we feel very miserable because it is so much ingrained in our day-to-day thinking, our day-to-day functioning, our philosophy for life, that you don't feel yourself if you are not performing, if you're not living up to the standards of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. In the present situation, we all know that the entire world, in general, our country and our industry is hit with a pandemic which has affected our way of life, our way of functioning, our business, and of course, our day-to-day comfort. And each and every segment, you talk to any segment, whether it is the ship owner or the seafarer or even an RO, an LSA supplier, a repair agency, each and every one has been impacted adversely because of the crisis, and the impact has been for two reasons, which we have spoken on most of the forums. One is the reason of lockdown because of COVID-19, and the other is the requirements that have been brought in because of COVID-19. I have been saying all along that the impact of lockdown will be temporary because you cannot lock yourself in your house for a very long period, no matter what the crisis. Ultimately, the life has to go on, the economic activities have to go on, our cultural activities have to go on, the higher pursuits of life have to go on, our learning, our knowledge, our capacity building has to go on. And when we go on with our life, we'll see that it was not life as usual before February 2020. It will be a life which will be slightly different from what we were used to living prior to COVID-19. Mrs. Joshi already mentioned there are some people who are more capable, who are more visionary, who can understand the changes that need to be brought who understand the pressures that this new situation has brought in our day-to-day functioning, in our functioning in the future, in our business plans, in our interactions with all our stakeholders, and adapt to this new situation. There would be others who would be struggling to adapt to the new situation, whether it is in business, in day-to-day life, or in the future endeavors. the role of mentoring in the new situation becomes more relevant today than it was a few months back. Because if we don't tutor or if we don't mentor those who need our help today, then we fear the breakdown in the fabric of the shipping industry itself. And the industry is so heavily interlinked, intertwined with each other's business that failure of one business will adversely impact the other businesses also. So to say very crudely, suppose a training institute fails, then it will have impact on the trainees, it will have impact on the future supply of seafarers, and it will have impact on the manning agency, which will have impact on the shipping companies. And same is true with, say, a repair unit or a riding squad or any business that we are talking of. And it is time that those who are capable start mentoring and finding solutions for the problems of others. These days, the DG's speech cannot stop without referring to seafarers, and rightly so, because they are the ones who have faced the maximum brunt of COVID-19 situation. Even when they are working in a very hostile environment. If they are not working, they are not sure as to when they will get back to work and under what situation. Biggest problem is in travel because of the various restrictions imposed by different countries, by various states within India, by various districts within a state. And the whole norm of free movement of goods and people has come to a standstill, and a new norm needs to be developed for that. We have been struggling with various issues affecting seafarers. I'll try to address it one by one because I see a lot of questions being asked on that. So far as crew change is concerned, and especially bringing back people from outside to India, we have issues of cruise shipping industry, which is not functioning at all, and the seafarers working in the cruise sector have no option but to come back. The cruise industry has taken it upon itself to ensure the welfare and well-being of the seafarers working with them. But we cannot expect that the entire burden will be borne by them for all times to come. It is our responsibility to make sure that these people come back as soon as possible. The government has allowed 4 types of activities, and this was allowed even when the other parts of the country were still in lockdown. That is repatriation of the crew through sea route on our ports, repatriation of seafarers at our anchorages. When Vande Bharat flights came, the seafarers were allowed to take Vande Bharat flights, but of course, they did not get the priority that we expected the seafarers to get. And rightly so, because there are some people who are stuck there, who are more needy than us, like elder women, pregnant women, those who have to attend to people in hospital. They obviously need more support than the seafarers, but that doesn't mean that the seafarers have to wait endlessly to come back. The government has now allowed the seafarers to travel by chartered flights, and thanks to the efforts of all the shipping companies, and I must compliment the extraordinary effort being made by them, we have now started seeing seafarers flight landing into the country, and of course a lot of seafarers flights taking off the country for joining jobs in different parts of the world. And slowly we are seeing the trickle down effect for opening up these avenues for crew change, both for sign on and sign off. And we have seen more than 10,000 sign-on, sign-offs since 23rd March of Indian seafarers. Maybe if we were completely open, we should have seen more sign-on, sign-offs in this period, which means that some people who were to sign off or who had completed their tenure have to continue to work on board the vessels. Government is very aware of the problems being faced by seafarers, and in all discussions, meetings, policy decisions, there is uniformity in view that seafarers need to be given certain privileges that other business travelers do not have. And to that extent, I have been saying in all the forum, we are better off than others. It may not be a perfect situation for us, but our situation is better than most of other business travelers around the world. We are seeing to it that this process is further smoothened up. Yesterday, some of you would have heard in the NSP meeting, we have approached the government of Delhi to give us a blanket permission for landing of 2 flights per week in Delhi, so that the delay that is being caused in granting permission for landing of flights for seafarers in India is reduced, and it is easier for us to plan the flights coming to India. We also propose to take up the same proposal with Government of Maharashtra. The Government of Maharashtra at present has certain problems. Government of Goa has already allowed more than 1,500 seafarers to land and has provided adequate quarantine facilities for them. The Government of India has from day one provided the facility for testing of seafarers, both on-signers and off-signers, a facility which has not been provided to any other community if they are not showing symptoms of COVID-19. So given the limited resources, the government has tried to help the seafaring community as much as possible. So any thought that any seafarer, and more so any thought that any family member of a seafarer has, that the government is not concerned about their safety and welfare, should be, laid to rest for all times to come. There is no way that we will let the safety and well-being of a seafarer be compromised in COVID-19 situation. We will do whatever is possible for us in our capacity to help a seafarer if he is in need of help. But we should also realize that these are difficult circumstances. It is not like earlier when a seafarer would demand that I have to just come back to India to see my family, and that request will be granted. Because it is not very easy for a shipping company to replace a seafarer with another one. We recently saw a case when a pregnant lady had to be brought back to India from a ship, but her husband could not be spared because the replacement was not available, readily available. Now, these are the compromises that one has to make. But so far as safety and welfare is concerned, we would do whatever is in our capacity to ensure safety. Pleasures will have to be curtailed. The shocks that we say needs to be curtailed, and that is true for everyone, everywhere in the world. And this is the new norm that we need to realize. We don't know for how long it will continue, for how long it will go on, but we will make sure that it is reduced as much as possible given the constraints that we are all working in. The second set of questions are being asked about the examinations. We all know that in the Ministry of Home Affairs orders, the institutes, the educational institutions are likely to start functioning from 1st of July if the states do not put in any further restrictions. As of now, we propose to start our examinations from 1st of July itself. The first set of examination will be for those whose examination had to be postponed midway because of the lockdown. So their examination will start from 1st of July. And then the normal examination schedules will start. Of course, we will have to reduce the capacity of the examination halls, and we will have to start discussing with the training institutes if they can make more space available at their centers to be used as examination hall for a few months till we come up with a better solution. Both the chief examiners are concerned about the delays in examination and certification, but some of these delays are beyond anyone's control, and we will try to make sure that we compensate as much as possible. The training institutes have been allowed to start virtual classes, and most of them are actually are already conducting most of the classes through virtual classroom, at least the theory part. Now we will have to start thinking of bringing back these students to the training institutes to complete their workshop training also. Of course, the capacity of the training institutes will have to be reduced to say around 33% or 50%, depending on the existing availability of the infrastructure. We will soon work on it, and we will ensure that as and when the institutes are allowed to start operating, we will start to resume our training activities also. In all, I say in every forum, we are working at 80% of our capacity or 70% of our capacity. We will have to start working at 100 or 110% of our capacity soon, not only to resume our activities, but to also clear the backlogs. If anyone has any suggestion in this respect, of course, we would be most willing to consider those suggestions and try and find solutions to the problems that we are facing. I also have a message to convey to everyone associated in the maritime community, especially when you interact with the outside world. And one should be very clear about the message that you want to convey to the outside world. If the message being conveyed to the outside world is that the Indian maritime community is not ready to tackle the COVID-19 situation, then you are writing your own death knell. Because there are other countries who are willing to raise their hands up and say that we are willing to replace the Indian maritime community and provide whatever services the Indian maritime community is providing. Of late, I have seen some very irresponsible statements being made by some respectable members of the community. And I feel that such outbursts only impact your own business, your own future, the future of the next generation of merchant navy officers, and the futures of the families who are dependent on merchant navy in one way or the other. So please think twice before you utter a word to the outside world about our preparedness, our situations, and our struggles and travails. Inside discussion is always discussed, thrashing out difficulties, thrashing out issues to overcome the difficulties is always welcome. But to expose your weaknesses to the outside world is always a bad strategy. No corporate does it, no government does it, no business does it. There is no reason why you should do it And united as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, I think this is one crisis we can easily overcome. We have lost a lot, but this loss is transitory. This loss can be made up, but the future that we all have, the visions that we all have should continue, and the effort to achieve that vision should be increased now, because we have to cover up for the lost time and we have to maybe reach our destination faster than we had thought earlier. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think as usual, you were articulate, you were precise and to the point. I'm not going to take up any more time and get on with the formalities and the reason why you're here. You've heard the two most important speakers, the CMD, SCI, and our dear DG Sab. So moving on, I'm going to request Thakur Sab to start off and kick off the proceedings today. Thakur Sab, please take over.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. As you all know, the world has been completely locked down due to the coronavirus pandemic since last 3 months. The entire world economy has literally squeezed to halt, with all its major working either been closed or restricted. If our seafarers would have not kept the show alive, the whole world would have starved. They have been showing their resilience despite their sign of being extended way beyond their contract. It gives me a great sense of pleasure to say that all the seafarers are the essential workers who, despite all odds, kept going and providing their uninterrupted services to make sure that all goods are delivered from one part of the world to another in order to satisfy the needs and requirements. However, this is difficult not just for the seafarer, but also their families. This is a phase out of the ordinary and therefore required extraordinary efforts. Just as a soldier fights a battle, we are in battle with an invisible enemy. And there is a lot of uncertainty about when all this will end. It will take time and much efforts to get the right strategy that works. There are a lot of factors involved, and we have to understand that this is a global pandemic of extraordinary proportions. Just like India and its various states, each country has their own protocols and SOPs to follow, which only means a lot of complications and limitations. The Maritime Union of India has been working very hard to ensure the quick and safe return of its seafaring members. For this, IMEC has been coordinating with the Director General of Shipping and Ministry of the Shipping, so the collective efforts of the maritime industry, stakeholders, and individually as an organization with its capacity. At the IMEC, mentoring is a way of life. This is how we normally function. However, during this pandemic, we have stepped up our efforts in hand-holding our members through this crisis. Many seafarers and families are stuck in different parts of the country with a little or no money or food to lend for themselves. IMEC has been silently offering help to rations and other means. Our helpline numbers have been constantly buzzing with the calls for help and assistance. Through our various chapters, we have been assisting seafarers and families in every way possible, counseling and mentoring our members all the way. Our women wing has been conducting webinars with families of the seafarers. The idea is to keep channels of information and communication open and also to offer help and assistance. Activities are being conducted online on topics like emotional intelligence, positivity, art and willingness. The idea is to encourage the families and keep up their moral high. We strongly believe that happy families make a happy seafarer, and therefore we are taking utmost care to ensure that families of the seafarers are coping with the COVID lockdown in a positive manner and not letting the stress and anxiety get to them or the seafarer. We mentor the families on how to deal with their seafarer in this stressful time. We would like to send this message across the world to the seafarer and their families that you are not alone. We are all in this together as a Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, work as a single family. And therefore, we need to fight this crisis together in the best way. There are many people who are trying to trigger negativity and the negativity in this situation or gaining attention. I want to inform to all seafarers and their families that they must not get carried away by any misleading or negativity message. In the current situation, seafarers are completely safe from COVID-19 on their ships. Some people are using misleading words like standard at sea. The fact is, seafarers are not standard at sea. They are doing their work. In fact, while the entire world is staying at home and people are losing jobs, our seafarers are working and earning their livelihood. Yes, we can understand and acknowledge that there is a lot of stress due to delay of signing in and signing off. We assure you that we are working day and night to solve this at the earliest. The Director General of Shipping has been very, very productive in finding solutions to the huge problem in hand. We are very proud of him. We are thankful to Shipping Ministers Shri Mansukhbhai and Dr. Maharashtra Chairperson, National Shipping Board, and all stakeholders for their efforts. We request all to kindly check the website of IMEC and the DG and NUSI website from time to time to get the right information. The fact means that the virus is here today to stay. We all need to work around its existence and adapt the new way of life. Like say, this is a new normal. We understand the people are anxious and stressed. It's okay to feel anxious in this time. In fact, this is a time to think and find solution. It is a time to reach out to each other, offer support and stand strong. The need of our is mentoring and hand-holding. It is now time to act as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means one word, one family. A place where we all belong to. Taking this opportunity, we are pleased to inform you that MUI is launching a unique mentoring and wellness coaching program for the seafarer community. Our women being coordinator, Celia, will share the details later. I leave you with the few thoughts, words. क्यों डरे कि जिंदगी में क्या होगा? क्यों डरे कि जिंदगी में क्या होगा? हर वक्त क्यों सोचें कि बुरा होगा? हर वक्त क्यों सोचें कि बुरा होगा? बढ़ते रहें बस मंजिल की ओर, बढ़ते रहें बस मंजिल की ओर. हमें कुछ मिले या न मिले, हमें कुछ मिले या न मिले, तजुर्बा तो नया होगा.
वाह,
तो नया होगा. Thank you.
क्या बात, वाह.
Thank you, Thakur sir, for that very vigorous speech. I will now request Captain Rajesh Tandon, Chairman of the International Maritime Employers and Council Limited, IMEC, and the Global Director of V Group to speak to all of us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank you, Anil, first of all. I'd like to thank the organizers of this seminar. A special thanks to Mrs. Joshi for those words that she said. And of course, our inimitable and uncomparable Director General of Shipping to put things in perspective. For all the seafarers who are on this call, let me tell you, we have been working very closely with the DG with regard to the permissions for the flights for seafarers traveling in and out. And I must say that we thank you for that. Sir, हाथी निकल गया, दुम रह गया है, 10% जो बाकी है उसमें भी थोड़ा धक्का लगा दीजिए, तो फिर हम लोग कल और गुण गाएंगे इस बात को लेके. But on the whole, we are hopeful that we will get the permission to bring back our flight, the first return flight for crew changes, genuine crew changes on operating cargo vessels. Thank you. With that, I will come to the subject of the seminar, which is mentoring. The mentoring is traditionally defined as developmental assistance offered to a junior employee or by somebody who is more senior or experienced in the business. Mentoring is generally regarded as a bifunctional process. It provides forms of support or development to the prodigy, whether it is career-oriented or it is psychological. Of course, Mrs. Joshi touched upon the reverse mentoring aspect as well, which is very relevant into today's world. But in the context of this particular seminar, where we are talking about mentoring in the maritime sector of traditional ship operation, I think I will limit my comments to that. You know, a ship has, unlike any shore establishment where you have one CMD, 6 directors, each director has his own teams, etc. It's a pyramid kind of a structure. But on the ship, we have a linear hierarchy. By linear hierarchy, I mean there is a captain, 1 chief officer below him, 1 second officer below him, 1 third officer below him. Similarly, on the engineering side, we have a chief engineer, second engineer, third engineer, fourth engineer, and so on the going down to the ratings categories as well. What this brings about is it makes mentoring a very, very important and relevant aspect in the development of the career of the people who work on board the ships, as well as ensuring that we maintain a safe and safe operation. Now, To understand this, we have to, particularly in the context of ship operation, we have to understand the difference between knowledge and competence. Knowledge can be acquired by the books, but being competent at, or the competence is actually being able to transfer that knowledge into actual performance on board the ships. For those of you who may be familiar with the Miller's triangle, which is generally adopted in the medical sector, there are 4 tiers, and I'll take 3 tiers out of that. One is the first lowermost rung on the pyramid is how does the person know the thing? Now, how does he learn the thing? He reads it in the books. He studies the subject. He attends courses and lectures, and he gets to know the subject. How does he show the thing that he knows it? It is done by the examinations, which are carried out by the regulator, and that gives him a license to operate the thing by passing the exam and orals and in a simulated environment. But when the person goes on board, he has to actually do the job. And that is where the difference between knowledge and competence is really highlighted. It's one thing to know the job. The other thing is to be able to do it and have the confidence to be able to do it. That is where, ladies and gentlemen, that mentoring in our sector gains great importance. So
1 minute.
I know I have only 3 or 4 minutes here, so I will just conclude by...
You have only 1 minute, Captain, not 3 minutes.
No, I was talking about the total time. Anyway, thank you, 1 minute. Right, so which brings me back to the key aspects which we should be deliberating upon is we need to be able to bridge the gap between having the knowledge and being competent at doing your job on board the ship. That is where I would like to draw attention of the people who may have, some of you may be familiar with the Mentoring at Sea, the 10-minute challenge. It's a book given, issued by the Nautical Institute. Read that, because you are mentoring your subordinates and juniors all the time. The juniors and subordinates are learning from you all the time. So please do it. Follow the mentoring processes informally in your day-to-day life. This is the way to ensure the best seafaring practices for the future and make sure that the ships operate in a safe and compliant manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Tandon, and the rest of the speakers also who are going to follow. Please do not mind my interfering, but I have a job to do. I'm next going to invite Mr. V.K. Jain, Chairman of the Institute of Marine Engineers. Mr. Jain, please start. Mr. Jain?
Just unmuted myself. Thank you. Respected DG Shipping, Mr. Amitabh Kumar, Chief Guest for the occasion, Mrs. H.K. Joshi, Mr. Amar Singh Thakur, thank you so much for inviting, and Mr. Devli, Captain Tandon, esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I'm indeed humbled to be chosen as a panelist, and it is indeed a great honor to be here in front of you talking about mentoring across the maritime sector. If I can be allowed, I would just like to share a slide, front slide, visible. I would like to share this, yeah. Okay. Can everybody see the slide? Is it good? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There is a definition of mentorship which is placed on the slide. A mentor shares with a mentee information about his career path, as well as provides him guidance, motivation, emotional support, and role modeling. It also helps in exploring career options, setting goals, and developing contacts. For the next 3 or 4 minutes, I would be talking about mentorship rather than Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which has been appropriately addressed by my preceding the panelists who have spoken. So in order to achieve this mentorship, the mentor has to be a consultant, he has to be a counselor, he has to be a cheerleader, all in one. Often the best mentors are the greatest leaders because they inspire others to dream. Mentors empower people to see the future, and they encourage the juniors to rise by sharing their experiences and showing them where to look. As the meaning or the definition implies, it is not restricted only to students. It can be applicable throughout one's life. Sri Krishna mentored Arjun and guided him to stay on the right path during the Battle of Mahabharata. I have tried to put on the slide 3 places where we feel that mentoring is necessary. Number 1, in schools. Number 2, in college. Number 3, in your profession. I'll just talk briefly on all these 3. In schools, when children need to choose their career, definitely they need mentoring. Each individual student has strengths and weaknesses. A good mentor should be able to guide the student into a profession where he or she can use his strengths. The NMDC organizing committee in February this year under Mr. SPS Jaggi, director in SCI, had arranged for a drawing and painting competition in 16 schools across Mumbai. Video clips were to be played at the prize distribution ceremony. The video clips contained information about the maritime sector, and we were supposed to go there, one master, one chief engineer, and appraise the students, help them, mentor them, guide them about the maritime profession. Unfortunately, COVID has put a brake on all of this. Despite the competitions having been held, we have still not been able to go ahead with this plan. But that is what mentorship is about at the school level. Day before yesterday, I received a call from one of the mothers in Thane, and she said that her daughter had studied in military school. She was a national level swimmer and she wanted to join the Merchant Navy. I tried to answer all her questions and then realized I'm a little inadequate, or perhaps there could be somebody better to answer it. So I rang up Suniti Bala of the IWSF. I think we have Sharwani Mishra of the IWSF also, one of the panelists who will be speaking later. And I requested Suniti to please contact her. I put them into touch so that she would get a better idea. But it goes without saying rather, that we need all of us here on this panels, whether it is CMMI, whether it is IMEI, whether it is FOSMA, MASA, MUI, MUSI, everybody can play their part in mentoring right across the maritime sector. I'm sure each one has its own role to play. The second one I was talking about was in mentoring in marine colleges.
So Jain, 1 minute.
Yes, sir. At the IMEI, realizing the importance of mentorship, we have over the years built up a mentorship program where we have enrolled mentors and mentees from across the country and tried to connect them. Goa has been at the forefront, where a large number of members have taken on 4 or 5 students from the local college there, and IMS, where 160 students are there. And there is a structured mentorship program where each mentor meets his mentee for once in every 3 months, etc. And they make a formal report at the end of the year. Similarly, Kochi is also carrying out various mentorship programs. IMU Mumbai has been approached by the Mumbai campus, has been approached by Mumbai branch, and Admiral Saran Lal, who is the director there, has facilitated number of meetings with the students, and we are in the process of mentoring these students there. We have conducted a soft skills training program after identifying their needs, and we have a structured mentorship program in progress over there. I come to the last point now, that is on the slide, which is about at various stages during the career, mentorship is required. Sure enough, everybody knows when one is at sea, one has a family, you have kids, you have people who, there's a need to come ashore. At that time, mentorship is definitely required. When you are ahead in your career, you want to set up maybe a business, or you're looking to change companies. For all these places, mentorship is required. Let us all come together under this great initiative and try and collectively provide for the seafaring community, for the maritime sector, mentoring by all of us. I leave you with a quote from Oprah Winfrey, a mentor is someone who allows you to see hope in yourself. Everybody has hope in him, but a mentor is someone who allows you to see that hope in yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. Captain Birendra Kumar, our turn to listen to you. Please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Special thanks to Mrs. Joshi and Mr. Amitabh ji for what is happening and what are they planning to do it. Detailed explanation, I'm sure this should go in print media also, so that everybody knows what is happening with the exams and what is happening with their return back to the home. It reminds me, whenever you call mentoring, what exactly is the mentoring? You teach the people, you ask them to develop their skill. I give you one example. When we were 8 or 9 years old, we went to a school. We did not know anything. What is the future for us? But it was a very good program. Our seniors, 1 year seniors, they were deputed as a mentor for each one of them. So 60 of the boys, we were selected and went to a school. 60 seniors were allotted for us to do the mentoring. In fact, similar thing happened in the Shipping Corporation of India also, and I was shocked and surprised when I was on the state of Rajasthan. When I joined as a junior cadet, I had a senior to mentor. Mentor means just not mentoring and ordering and telling the things. It's really working with you, teaching you everything, developing the skill, even the communication, how exactly you should do it. And after 3 or 4 months, because the total stay on the ship is about 7 or 8 months. So after 3 or 4 months, we became a senior, and it was our duty to do the mentoring, and we did it. Now what has happened? Why suddenly this word has become so important, and we feel that our seafarers have lost somewhere? It is right. Nobody likes to create a leader. When you are doing a mentoring, what are you doing it? You are creating your own competitor who is going to be leader. And one day he will take up your job, you will be a jobless. In today's world, it is absolutely right. Nobody likes to create a leader, but they like to create a follower. Follower will never take this place of the leader, and leaders are not there, so you become the leader forever. It's a little irony, but that's what is there. What mentor provides? Advice, guidance, information on the corporate culture, help in the right directions to develop his career, coaching in the specific skill. In fact, real mentors are the father figure, truly father figure. Mentee has to come so close that the mentor gives out everything, whatever he has, including the bad habits. So mentor and mentee relation is completely different, completely different. And guru or shishya relationship, what used to be there, that's what exactly matters. Nowadays, what is happening is that, how do you decide? One is that the mentor is thrust upon you, thrust upon on the mentee, and you have no choice. Whoever has come, good, bad, you learn from there. Other way is that ekalabya. You decide who is your role model, and you try to follow his way of working skill. So he becomes a parental figure. So he is just not a mentor. He becomes a parental figure. He gives you all the time. He calls you. But the most important part in this, I find
1 minute.
Yes, I will take. Most important part in this, I feel, is that mentee must be willing to take the mentor. If the mentee does not want, then it's all useless exercise. We are doing it. And this is what is happening in the modern culture, because they are living in an isolated room. They have nobody to talk on the ship. The only work culture is there. So nobody is ready to help and support the junior most people. I urge complete maritime industry, everywhere, everyone, whoever is ashore or on the ship, please give some time. Otherwise, the next generation will not leave you. The way you got your knowledge and skill from the mentor, it is your prime duty and responsibility to hand over the same skill level to the mentee. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Captain Jha. I must compliment you. Bang on within 5 minutes. Also, I must take 1 more minute here. There are a lot of comments coming in from people. Please hold on. There are some hands being raised. All of these people will be happy to answer your questions, but we need to first go through the cycle of people speaking. Now, I want to introduce somebody very special. The next speaker before you is a young girl who, along with a few of her other colleagues, has found it important to set up a forum for women at sea. That's the women who go out and run our ships. And I'm very proud to introduce Sharmani Mishra, who is the co-founder of the IWSF. Sharmani, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, sir, for the very nice introduction. Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. And to help you out, sir, I have also set a timer in my mobile phone here. I don't know if it's visible.
Others will follow suit. Others will follow suit.
Yeah. And if you've already introduced International Women Seafarers Foundation, I'm only going to add 2-3 lines to that. We are an organization 3 years old. But mentoring is something we started long ago, ever since I came to, I joined sailing, that was in year 2002. And one of our founders, Captain Radhika Menon, she started sailing in the year 1991. She was the first lady officer to join on board through Shipping Corporation of India. I must thank the SCI for that, taking the leadership in it. And the one mentoring, I think, it has already been very well defined by all my predecessors here in this forum. The one thing I would like to highlight, and it is very close to the women seafarers' hearts, is the social mentoring. Given the circumstances of Indian cultural system, having a woman on board is definitely a very difficult and challenging atmosphere, for not just for the lady, it's also for the men who are dealing with her on a daily basis. That's because shipping is a hazardous, it's considered as one of the 10 most hazardous professions. Keeping the etiquettes, keeping the morals of the profession on board in a secluded atmosphere is an extremely challenging thing for everyone who are present. And we are talking about those seafarers, a general career of seafaring ranges anything between the age of 18 to 35 generally. And that's about the time usually most of the seafarers would sail. And you are in the prime of your age, and social mentoring therefore becomes an extremely important factor. International Women Seafarers Foundation and our members have always actively taken into social mentoring and have always seen that prevention is better than cure. Like DG sir rightly pointed out, it's important to resolve the issues at home than then blow the trumpet out and speak of it publicly. Social mentoring for not just women, we do that often. Even for men, we request this panel to take this as our recommendation that it should be formalized in all the companies. every rank, including from that of captain to the junior most, and sometimes even the crew. They require social mentoring on board for making sure that the gender discrimination or their social backgrounds do not affect their profession at any point of time. We not only recommend it for the shipping companies, we strongly recommend it right from the point where a seafarer, a person joins shipping, that is at the stage of induction within institutions. And what's more important here is, mentoring is not, social mentoring is not necessary just for the students. It is actually equally important for the managers who are managing them, for the trainers, for the faculty who are teaching them. Virendra Jain sir just now mentioned about it. It needs to be a 360-degree mentoring at all times. It has to be imbibed in the culture because it's not already present in the Indian systems. So it's our strong recommendation, sir, that we take in, and we have seen social mentoring really benefits. It has benefited numerous number of women seafarers. We have mentored them before social situations happen on board. These can be very well addressed if the office can take the initiative, if the faculty, if the people in the channel, in the supply chain can take the initiative to remain in touch. The right guidance can be provided at the right time, and issues can be resolved much ahead of time. I would rest my case there, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharmani. I am particularly fond about these, this group of women who are really brave girls and who've come out and made a mark for themselves and are now trying to share that. I have to now the pleasure of, calling what we call in Mumbai Purana Khiladi, our dear old, not old, as in he's been here for too long, Mr. Abdul Ghani Serang, the General Secretary and the Treasurer of the NUSI, somebody who has been part of this whole community. And Abdul Ghani ji,
please. Thank you. मैं तो 5 मिनट के अंदर ही खत्म कर दूंगा, hopefully.
Thank you.
As you are aware that along with the Maritime Union of India, the National Seafarers of India, we represent the seafarers. Now, ये जो forum जो आज हम discuss कर रहे हैं, I would like to break it in 2 parts. One is because there is a lot of question I can see from the chats that there is a lot of question, frustration about seafarers who are out of India awaiting repatriation. Let me touch on that and come straight to the point. In 2 parts, there are thousands of our seafarers who are awaiting repatriation. There are equal number who want to join the ship. So, and both of them are frustrated. Now, I would like to very clearly mention for the, and you should all be aware, which you are aware, but I want to reiterate and reinstate, mention it, that each and every of those seafarers who want to come back, they are awaiting repatriation, who want to come back, their companies want them to come back. It is not that the companies don't want them to come back. They are doing all that at their disposal to want them to come back. But because of the situation, because as NUSI and MUI, we are dealing with the companies, we are dealing with the Maritime Administration, we are dealing with the Ministry of Shipping, right up to the Prime Minister's office. We are in contact with them, dialoguing with them, along with the ship owners. So when we say, please, we would advise you take our advice. The seafarers want to come back, the companies want to bring them back, but because of government policies, not just in India, throughout the world, there are limitations. That is the reason the handicap is there. But the coming of in India, it has already started. Within Indian ports, and the government, our government, has also opened up the flights. It is not to the level as we expected it to be, but it has started, and very hopefully we should get all our seafarers back. I would urge the family members, please don't put extra pressure on the seafarers who are on board. They are already under pressure, and if you all keep on telling them, your own issues, they will be under more pressure. We want them to come back. We have taken it up locally, nationally, and internationally also. So please bear with us, have patience, because in another way, when the things come around, we will be very happy. Let me repeat, we will be very, very happy if Indians are able to retain those existing jobs. At the moment, whatever jobs we are having, if we are only able to retain them, we'll be lucky. We are losing our ship because of the sign-on, sign-off to the Vietnamese, to the Sri Lankans, to the Ukrainians and Cambodians. They are coming in left, right, and center, and the cruise ship also. So we'll be very happy. Our seafarers doing a very great job. Definitely, they are giving it is their passion which is holding them on. They are definitely doing a very, very great job for themselves, their family members, and our country. I would urge, just bear with us. There are saturation points, we are aware, but bear with us. As the DG mentioned, don't paint the town red with your negativities nationally. BBC got in touch with me and they wanted to put some negative words, but because I was not negative about our process, they did not take my part. But that is good luck to them. I don't care. But this is the fact. Let us be positive. Things are definitely going to improve. Now, having said that, since I still have 2 minutes in my hand, I have 2 minutes. कितना टाइम है? 1 मिनट.
Yes, 1.5 minutes. Yes, please go.
1.5 minute में मैं एक 2 लाइन मैंने बनाया था. वो मैं just to break the monotony of our subject, the session. कि कोरोना आया है, थोड़े दिन रहेगा मगर जाएगा जरूर. कोरोना आया है, थोड़े दिन रहेगा मगर जाएगा जरूर. टेंशन न लेना, इसकी वापसी तय है. इसे हम भेजेंगे बहुत दूर, बहुत दूर. कोई भी चुनौती से नाविक नहीं घबराते हैं. कोई भी चुनौती से नाविक नहीं घबराते हैं. हम तो वो है जो तेज तूफानों के बीच से निकल आते हैं. जहाजी डिसिप्लिन हमें लॉकडाउन में आता है बड़ा काम. सेफ्टी का पालन करना है और करवाना है सुबह या शाम. दुनिया की जमीन में लॉकडाउन है मगर पानी में नाविकों का काम जारी है. दुनिया की जमीन में लॉकडाउन है मगर पानी में नाविकों का काम जारी है. दुनिया हो गई है ठप मगर हमारा नाविक कोरोना पर भारी है. हमारा नाविक कोरोना पर भारी है. हमारी फैमिली का सपोर्ट उत्तम है. जिनकी हमें याद आती है, काम तो करते हैं मगर उनकी भी याद सताती है. सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग, हाथ की सफाई कोरोना से बचने का इलाज है. घर में रहना, बिना जरूरत नहीं निकलना, यही इसका राज है. मगर घर में कितने दिन रहेंगे? वापस जहाज पर भी तो जाना है. भूखे पेट क्रांति नहीं होती. हमारा घर भी तो चलाना है. अभी निसर्ग का साइक्लोन आया था, वो मुंबई को किस करके निकल गया, मगर फिर भी हमारा सीफेयरर्स का धाड़स ये एकदम रेडी पोजीशन में है जहाज पर जाने के लिए. फिर एक बार तूफान और आंधी से आंख मिलाने के लिए अपना और अपने परिवार का ध्यान रखना है. बस इतना हमें करना है. कोरोना से नहीं डरना है. थैंक यू. आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू हैव सम. आप लोग ने इतना धाड़स दिखाया. प्लीज once again keep it up. Keep the धाड़स of yourself and your family members and the seafarers on board, all ranks of seafarers. These times are surely going to pass by and will become out of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abdul Bhai. I will now invite Dr. Sanjay Bhavnani, the recently elected chairman of the Foreign Ship Owners Representative and Ship Managers Association known as FOSMA. Bhavnani ji, the floor is yours.
Well, are you able to hear me?
Yes, please do. Please go ahead.
Well, good afternoon to everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to this webinar and giving me an opportunity to express my views on behalf of FOSMA. My special thanks to the Maritime Union of India for doing so. At the onset, also, I would like to thank Mr. Amitabh Kumar ji for his very passionate leadership, which has been shown towards the entire industry and being most proactive in ensuring that the Indian administration continues to remain at the forefront, especially during the current COVID-19 pandemic. I think with the kind of support which we have received from the administration has been extremely fabulous, and the way the various proactive steps have been taken compared to what has been done by the other administrations, I think it is definitely deserves a lot of praise and our thanks to them. Also, our thanks to Mr. Joshi for highlighting the importance of mentoring at the beginning of this particular webinar. In our opinion, mentoring emphasizes collaboration. It is, and this also ingrains the idea of reverse mentoring. The benefit of collaboration lies both ways for both the mentor as well as the mentee. We need to realize and utilize this opportunity to ensure that we achieve and continue to enhance the level of collaboration within the industry. We should be able to come together collectively, which we have already so far, and we need to continually keep on enhancing it so that we are able to deal with this situation jointly in the best possible manner to be able to get the required results which we seek out to achieve. In fact, probably that's going to be the only way in which we will be able to successfully deal with and fight this particular battle, which continues to be ongoing. These are indeed very challenging times. And because of the fact that these times are also completely unprecedented, first of all, I would like to thank all the Indian seafarers for this excellent work which they are doing on board and keeping the ships going and discharging all their duties in the most professional manner. We know, we understand, we recognize, and we completely are sensitive to the fact that they are overdue for the relief and greatly look forward to be back with their families. We are grateful to them for understanding the situation, and on our part, we would like to assure them that we are doing all possible to ensure that they are able to come back at the soonest possible. At the same time, our objective is also to place the various seafarers who are waiting to be able to join back, to go and relieve these people who are overdue for relief in order to make the entire cycle work. As you all know, the crew changes in India are already in progress since the last several weeks, and a lot of seafarers have already signed off from the vessels which have called Indian ports. And that has been done in a fairly smooth manner. Crew changes at foreign ports continue to be a challenge, and while as seafarers traveling out of India now has been successfully achieved over the last few weeks now, thanks to the active involvement of the various stakeholders being led by the DG Shipping and his entire team, the efforts now are on to get the seafarers back from the ports into India from the various non-cruise vessels. Our objective right now is to allow the people to go out and get the people to be relieved, to be able to come back into India in the smoothest possible way. That is going to help us to be able to establish that the entire cycle of crew changes are going to be completed. That continues to remain at the highest level of our priority, and we would like to assure them that we are doing our very best possible to make this happen at the first available opportunity. At the same time, about mentoring, I think mentoring is all about people. It's all about caring. It's all about relationships. It's all about exhibiting the required sensitivity. Something which we all need to, which we are all aware of, but we just need to probably give it that much of a thought more. And after all, whatever, yes, everything, whatever we know, we have learned from someone else. So mentoring, whatever knowledge we have today doesn't really belong to us. It's our responsibility to pass it on to the others. It's a responsibility to pass it on to the next generation. And then, of course, that is the only way by which the next generation will be able to enhance on it. And then the benefit would be passed on to the entire fraternity. With that, once again, I would like to thank all the seafarers. I would like to thank all the stakeholders. I would like to thank the Director General of Shipping, his entire team, and I'm sure in the times to come, the entire process of crew change is going to become more smooth and and before long, we will be able to look back and say that how successful we were in dealing with these times more successfully. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bhavanani. I would now request Ms. Pankudi Poddar, who is the mentor at Maritime CEO, to kindly speak.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone, my fellow panelists and the audience. Thank you so much for considering me worthy enough to speak alongside such esteemed industry professionals. I am speaking today as a mentor on behalf of Maritime CEO. Maritime CEO is a mentorship organization that has been started by Tanjam Sahi Gupta of Sitara Shipping and Vista India. But it started at a very apt time. It brings together a mentorship platform which gives a structure to the maritime industry in India, to the mentoring the maritime professionals and the industry in India, which does not really exist very strongly, more so in the commercial sector. COVID-19 has not only, as Mrs. Joshi very rightly said, it's brought upon the importance of positivity in the current times, but at the same time, it has also brought upon a lot of opportunities that exist in the maritime space. For example, in the digital space, the tech space, the chartering space, the broking space, and there is a lot of scope of learning and starting new ventures for which there is a lot of scope of providing guidance, leadership, which is exactly what this platform and so many other organizations that exist in the industry can provide. So I speak as a mentor and I'm very young, but at the same time, I would like to say that I am myself a mentee, and the mentor-mentee relationship is something which goes hand in hand and is a lifelong process, because personal growth and development doesn't ever stop. It is something which continues throughout your life and there's no end to it. And it extends beyond culture, age, profession, and any other so-called barrier that mankind has created for themselves. I would like to put forth a small anecdote in my life which gave me a new insight upon how mentorship can help. So I was in London in 2018 doing my master's in energy when I was attending a lecture at the Baltic Exchange when I came across a gentleman who's a very senior shipbroker and he was doing currently a PhD candidate. Upon talking with him, he suggested that I should apply for a fellowship at the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers based on my experience and qualifications. Though that is something which is very rare for a person at my age, I thought it was, I took the leap of faith and went for it. No doubt I got a lot of discouragement saying that I'm probably too young to apply for such a position. But today, not only am I a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers, I am also on the committee of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers Tandon branch, and I am very actively engaging with the current student community within the maritime sector, and helping them shape up their path of future within the shipping industry. So my point being of the entire anecdote is that there will always be people who will have different opinions, but we should not let that impact what we believe in, and we should take everything and see the positive and the best in everything and keep moving, and eventually we will get there. And we should together support everyone who's trying to do something.
1 minute.
We should support everyone who's trying to do something out of the norm. The COVID-19 time has highlighted the importance of positivity and how we should all collectively as a community support each other, encourage each other, and more than ever try to provide opportunities for the seafarers who want to shift or come back ashore and get jobs on shore. Even though they do not have the commercial experience, we should come up with programs that help them gain that and make opportunities available to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's now my pleasure to invite Captain Gajanan Karanjikar, who is the president of the All India Marine Pilots Association, to share his thoughts with us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I thank you, MUI, first to have this kind of unique seminar during these difficult times of COVID. Being from Pilot Association, I'm spared to speak on seafarers and their issues there. People have already spoken about it, and everybody is in line with what actions are being taken by the government of India. Being from Pilot Association, of course, the mentoring is a very big topic in India, and it's a very vast topic also for the pilots, also for the entire maritime fraternity. I've heard a lot of people speaking, and at the moment I'm in dilemma because half the panelists is my mentors and other half is watching on YouTube everywhere else. So how much I can contribute to this? But yes, after hearing a lot of speakers speaking on mentoring, I have a very valuable thought to share with you. I hope you'll like it. Mentoring, of course, is a process, but it is a process of what? It is not a process of sharing knowledge. It is not a process of sharing information. Neither it is a process of sharing a skill set. It is a process of building character. And more than anybody else today who requires this building of a character is maritime community. The fragmentation, self-centeredness of maritime community has taken the community nowhere. We are fighting over issues today. We have seen last 3-4 months we are fighting over seafarers sign-offs and things like that with the government and everybody. Government is with us, of course. They're helping us. But we haven't come together as a community. Everybody is trying to work on their silos. And this itself speaks a volume about character. I'm not talking negative here. I'm trying to give insight to a very august gathering group, which is required at the moment, because if you don't do it now, then demographic, the dividend advantage we will not have in next 10 years. We will lose these years in looking at ourselves and not looking at building a character of a country. So we have it in our hands today to build the character of a country, to real mentor our juniors, real mentor our society, our community, and take them ahead. And very rightly so, the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam itself is a mentoring phrase. You see how mentoring takes place in the family. In the family, there is nowhere else the character building can take place than family. I take my surname, Karanjikar, forward with the character of my father, my grandfather, and forefathers. So we need to do that. When you have a merchant navy officer, crew, rating standing in the crowd of million people, we should stand out with the character. Are we building the character? No. For last 10 years, it has been at the backlog, our mentoring process. You can blame regulations, you can blame short manning, you can blame budgeting, you can blame anything. But we haven't done enough, and it is on our hands now that if we don't do enough more, then we have a lot of problems coming into it for merchant community in future. More than this, I would like to also say a very small thing about maritime fraternity and their coming together. The Pilot Association brought all the pilots together. I'm yet to gather all of them under one umbrella, but still, because they didn't have a voice. Half of them were government employees, half of them were private employees, half of them were major port, minor port, private port, name things near there. Unless we bring them all together and mentor them, so there is more mentoring required for the senior officers than juniors, I think. So with this note, I would like to put a stop to my talk, and happy mentoring to everyone. We hope that everybody will come together and create a new India with a whole of a maritime character. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Karanjikar. I would like to now invite Captain Phillip Matthew, Senior Vice President, Seven Islands Shipping, to share his thoughts with us. Captain Matthew.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well, after First of all, I thank the Maritime Union of India for inviting me this evening here. And after having listened to all these learned gentlemen before me, I hardly have much to say, but anyway, I will put forward my thoughts. It may be a bit pungent, but yes, it was worth listening. I consider that people are our biggest assets, and to get maximum efficiency and productivity from them should be the prime goal. I salute all the seafarers who have gone through this pandemic. They have done a wonderful job. We have hardly had much resistance from them. I also salute the office staff who have worked with the wonderful resilience they have shown with the difficulties. They have been working nearly, I should say, 20 hours on in and out, and too much stress on them. I appreciate the DG Shipping and the Government of India. But having said that, I also see that we have been, even in this case, reactive. If all the efforts which we are taken in the last 3 weeks would have been anticipated in the month of February or by March 15th, and we had started action, then the situation would have been much better. There are lessons we learned from this, and I am sure that we will handle situations much better. Today, with the initial 2 weeks of difficulties, the land transport within India has become quite okay. We are facing some difficulties in some ports. Like even today, I have a ship waiting at Anchorage. They will not let the people go there because the ship is berthing in 2 days. Okay, having said that, what is my feeling of mentoring? I think I sailed for more than 20 years and I have been more than 20 years ashore. The mentoring which was there when I was there was from the top down. Of course, there was not much of reverse mentoring at that time, but then there was a personal touch. And that personal touch continued all through my career. When I came ashore, I had the same persons who helped me climb the ladder from a cadet captain at being the junior most person in the office to having become the head of a particular department. Mentoring is sought, increases your professionalism, knowledge and skills. I am not one of those persons who believe in big manuals of ISM, read this, this procedure, that procedure. No, good results can be obtained only through a self-perpetuating mentoring system that transfers knowledge from one generation to another. This is my opinion. Mentoring is something which is bridging the gap. Mentoring, as I mentioned, it helps you to grow out in life, think out of the box. What are the barriers? What made us stop to shipboard mentoring? One of the most important things which happened is our very short manning. Every commercial operator, the shipping business would like to have as short a manning as possible, which does not satisfy the operational manning. I have myself raised this issue at no place short than the World Maritime University and at informal discussions at IMO, but nobody is willing to touch this point. If you want good people, they have to, practical training in shipping is more important than theoretical training. Well, let us understand, theoretical training is needed. I am not discounting that. Then the company must support. Faster promotions, what has it led to? Faster promotions have led to juniors losing faith in the seniors. The seniors' competency is at stake because fast promotions, you can ask people who sailed sometime back when promotions used to take some time. This has made a difference. The onboard culture and leadership managements. Further, what is the problem faced? Today, there is no time. The port stay is very small. The training and mentorship has shifted ashore. It was a wonderful system when the Tolani had conducted in the early 80s under Captain P.S. Barve. It was wonderfully going on, but somehow along the way, the IMU came in and there has been a problem. Mentoring is a low-cost initiative which helps in the retention of staff. Now, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, what has this pandemic brought us? The pandemic has brought all of us together. The shipping staff, the office staff, the families of the seafarers, the families of the office people, and everybody together. Today we work together. Even in your own buildings, if you see, everybody is in a cooperative way. You get your provisions together, you get everything together. This is one of the biggest gains we have got. We have to build upon that. Today's, when we go about reverse mentoring is another topic. Madam Joshi and Dr. Bhavanani talked about it. It is very important in these times that the generation gaps exist. You have to encourage the culture of challenging decisions. Today, I have found even masters hesitant to exercise their overriding authority when it is essential under commercial pressures. I am not saying for flimsy reasons anybody should ever, it is as per the law where it is permitted. These things we have to inculcate in them. Awareness of MLC and RPSL, it should be in the right. I have seen RPSL being misused. I have put up in my papers to the Maritime Vision 30, MLC not being understood. Now, what is the difference? I am an old-time sailor, so I believe in classical mentoring. Digital mentoring has its problems. What is that? It is good, no doubt. There is no alternative, but it is somewhat robotic. It should not be just content delivery. The importance must be given to holistic development of the individual. Emotional quotient, spiritual or social quotient is very important. Psychological aspects of a student must be taken in addition to the emotional quotient. Ensure that everything has equity. It should not go only to the privilege. I have seen some of the chats. I can see that. All this is easier done. But when the going gets tough, it is a tough which gets going. Seafarers are expected to face tough decisions at sea. Another last point is mental wellness. Today, this is a very important issue. I have seen various crude accidents taking place which should never have happened. I have just brought these points. Time is showing. Thank you once again to all of you for having permitted me to put a few thoughts ahead, and also salute once again to all my seafarers, my shore staff, everybody connected with the maritime industry. Great effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Matthew. That is a very spirited talk. I now come to the last speaker of the day, Captain Sankal Shukla, General Secretary of MAPS. Captain Shukla, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Anil. Respected Chief Guest, Ms. Joshi, our beloved Director General of Shipping, Shri Amar Singh Thakur, thank you for inviting me as a panelist in this discussion. And Anil, like you said, I'm the last panelist. Everybody has spoken before me. So there's no point actually making notes and all that, keeping a speech ready, because it doesn't actually work. Everybody's already spoken. Yes, that was on a lighter note. But I very strongly believe that the backbone of a profession, that is seafaring, is based on mentoring. Captain Tandon spoke about knowledge and competency. I think the gap between the two is filled through the mentoring process. Traditionally, seafaring was where what we called a greenhorn during that time used to board a ship. He used to be mentored, and then he became a professional seafarer. He went on to take command and things like that. It doesn't stop at just being out at sea. Even coming ashore, all of us have had mentors. People were saying that there are a lot of mentors of theirs in this group. I second that. Yes, I've got a lot of mentors of mine in the profession ashore in this group. And it is a continuous process. The only thing, the mentor keeps changing from a situation to situation. It was brought up again in the previous discussion that you have a mentor while you're in school. You have a mentor when you're in a professional college. Then while at work, you have a mentor. So the mentor just keeps changing, but the mentoring continues. And now we talk about reverse mentoring or cross mentoring. That is a new concept that is started. Let us take today's situation, the COVID-19 situation. I've been seeing the chats. There's a lot of frustration. Our seafarers are not coming back. We all know, and a lot of us are in this panel, that when this lockdown started, when the countries, not only India, countries globally started closing doors, not letting people enter, we really didn't know what to do. We as individual companies, we as individual associations started approaching the Director General of Shipping. And the Director General of Shipping obviously cannot respond to every individual request. So he acted as a mentor over there. He brought us all together and he said, let us work as one group. So I do not see a better example to give. When we started off this entire process of making the standard operating protocols for sign-off of or sign-on and sign-off of Indian crew members in Indian ports. We all had worked together. We all worked together, different companies, different associations, but all of us worked together to build on the SOPs and work with the Director General of Shipping. From there, we've progressed to a situation where now we are looking at, I mean, there have been a lot of charter flights that have gone out. There are charter flights that have come in with the cruise seafarers come back to the country. And we are shortly going to be in a scenario where we are going to have Indian seafarers on normal cargo ships also returning via charter flights to the country. This would not have been possible if we were not mentored into working together as an industry, not as individuals. Today, we all are pooling in all our resources together to make sure that our beloved seafarers come back after they are relieved. And it's happening. We are talking more to each other. In fact, I've seen most of our faces on a daily basis. The only thing today, the clothes are slightly different. Otherwise, we are sitting in our t-shirts. But we are doing it, and it's all being done because we were mentored to do so. The situation today, again, like Captain Phillip said, that the same amount of mentoring is not taking place on board the ship. And one of the valid points that he touched upon was that the seniors on board the ship feel that they are not supposed to be mentors because the responsibility has shifted ashore. The responsibility of mentoring a seafarer on board the ship cannot shift ashore. You cannot think that you bring a seafarer into a classroom and you will be able to mentor him. In classroom, you give knowledge. Mentoring takes place on board the ship. And that is what we need to understand. That is what we need to accept. And that is what we need to facilitate our senior officers to do. So I'm not going to take much time because a lot of the other points are already covered. Again, a big thank you to all the seafarers on board the ship. The global trade continued because they understood they understood the situation. They understood the situation that they were in. And despite what people may say, despite what social media may say, I can still tell you that majority of our seafarers are still understanding. They are not raising their voice. They understand what the situation is. I also thank the families of the seafarers ashore for their understanding. There have been calamities that have taken place at some people's houses. We had cyclones coming in various places, but the families have understood that their loved ones will be brought back whenever it is safe to be brought back. That's it, Anil. Thank you from my side.
Thank you. That was precise and to the point. So we've come to the end of the panel that was invited today to share their thoughts with us. And while all of this was going on, we have a team that has been working behind the scenes, the back-end team furiously noting all the comments that are being made. And we are going to try and take just about 1 or 2 questions because we're completely out of time, but related to mentor. And one question has come to you, to Captain Jha. Captain Jha, are you here? Yeah. So Captain Jha, there is a question for you that you made a mention about a mentee's willingness to be mentored. And somebody has asked, so what can the seniors on board do to encourage this, and what are the steps that a senior is expected to take at this stage?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. The first step has to be walked by the senior, then only junior will walk 2 more steps. This is very clear. But the question is not that. Question is, mentee is willing to accept that senior as a mentor or not. If he's like somebody said that senior officers are getting promotion very quickly, so their idealism is not there in that senior. So they need to see that he is the ideal person, he is the role model of the he's a role model of everybody. So he accepts that. Now today you see any scenario you see, anywhere you see, can you tell me any role model? You had a Mahatma Gandhi, you had Netaji Bose, you had so many leaders were there whom you can say that idealize it. But today, do you have anybody, whether it is a political or education or anywhere else? Yes, partly you have. You have something you have, as Sankalp says that, yes, I have. Captain Phillip Matthews said, yes, I have. Partly you have. So we need to educate even the seniors, not only the junior, how to do the mentoring. And it was said very nicely by the Captain Tandon, 10 minutes mentoring. That book must be read by everybody, especially by all seniors, to become a real mentor, so that whatever you do, generation has to take over from you. You are old. So generation has to take over, whether right or wrong. If you give a right, maybe probably 1.3 billion population will have a lot of job. If you do not mentor properly, all of us will lose. So I hope I'm clear, and if not, if something more is needed, he can give me a call, concerned person. I will explain him further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain Jha. We have one question for the DG, but I note that the DG is not here. So I'm going to request Abdul Ghani ji to reply to this. A question has been asked is that the DG is definitely applauded because of their efforts to help the industry in respect of the crew change. But can the DG's office assist by telling all ports and various states to try and follow one single SOP or rule for crew change? These differing crew change rules causes a lot of anxiety to seafarers. You have a view on this, Abdulji?
Yeah,
While of course,
see, there is a central notification from the Ministry of Home Affairs that which has to be followed centrally. But the state governments, in their own wisdom, in their own mandates, they take different interpretation, and that is creating a problem. The state of West Bengal, Goa, Tamil Nadu, and the Maharashtra has been the best example of having a good facilitation. The DG shipping office and the DG personally is taking it up with the highest level at the state level in the state with the chief secretary that they should follow similarly, or at least they should, make it easy for the seafarers to sign up. The DG has been doing it, but there are challenges. There are challenges to this, and it is being worked. And the Maritime Administration Office is very supportive, and if they will take it at a personal level with the people who matter in that particular state. But it is still not, needs to be more improvement, I would say.
okay. Thank you very much. I think with that, I hope some of the questions have been answered. We unfortunately do not have any more time for any more questions. I have been asked to summarize the various thoughts that were made today. And from my notes, I think it was wonderful to listen to these varying ideas. Captain Rajesh Tandon spoke and started the day with talking about the linear hierarchy that exists on the ship. But he made an important point about bridging the gap between knowledge and competency. And as this went on, I think a lot of our seniors spoke about this need that mentoring should help you bridge the gap between knowledge and competency. Mr. V.K. Jain spoke about how a mentor needs to be a consultant, he needs to be a counselor, a cheerleader. And I think he touched upon a very important thing. He said Sri Krishna was the first greatest mentor. And yes, I think that was a wonderful point. He was the one who mentored Arjun when Arjun faced some kind of a dilemma. He referred to the mentorship program that the IMEC is running in Goa. I personally also know about it, and I think it works very well. We have to be thankful for Captain Jha, who set the tone of sticking to time, and he spoke about his experiences in SCI. We heard him again about what these seniors need to do, and he also touched upon why people are today worried, the whole sense of wanting followers rather than creating leaders. We had Sharwani from the IWSF who spoke about the need for social mentoring, and I think she more than twice made this very important point, and recommended in not so many, in very clear words, the need to have formalized social mentoring for men. And I think all of us men who are here very clearly understand the message that she has tried to give on behalf of the ladies and the lady seafarers who come on board the ships. She spoke about shipping being a hazardous profession, and I can indeed imagine Mr. Abdul Ghani Sarang to use this opportunity to try and assuage the concerns of various people I see on this group who have had concerns about bringing their loved ones back. And he has tried to explain to everybody the need to show patience. We know it is easy to say this from a distance, but believe me, there has been nobody less than Mr. Abdul Ghani Sarang who has made huge efforts to try and assist to bring them back. You heard Sanjay Bhavnani, you heard Captain Halbe was not there today, Captain Matthew, Sankalp Shukla, all of these people have been working very, very hard to try and get the seafarers in and get them out also, not just get them in. So to protect our jobs, they've been working very hard to get people back. Dr. Bhavnani spoke about the need for collaboration and the need to pass the baton, but in order to enhance passing the baton, not simply just passing the baton on. We had a young Pankudi Poddar who spoke about the need for positivity and how opportunities need to be provided to seafarers when they come back ashore. Captain Karanjikar, of course, spoke upon another important issue, that he said that it is the family and the family tradition, and that our mentoring begins at home. You know, our parents, our grandparents, our uncle, auntie, everybody tells us, our neighbors tell us how we should be behaving, what kind of people we ought to be when we grow up. Captain Phillip Matthew made some very spirited points, having sailed for 20 years. He said he was the beneficiary of, you know, being touched by mentoring, all from the time when he was a cadet captain to becoming an HOD. He said that there is he also touched upon this need, and I think this is a very important takeaway I am taking away from today's meeting, is the fact about bridging the gap, the need for transfer of knowledge, the fact that short manning leads to pressure on people. Very few people have had the courage to raise this. I represent ship owners, and I applaud his ability to be able to, he works for a ship owner, and this shows the quality of the person, that people are willing to take up issues, not just from a personal gain point, but from the larger perspective of these seafarers. He also touched on the issue of mental wellness, and I saw this discussion all throughout in the chat room also. Captain Sankalp Shukla, as I said, he has been at the forefront in trying to work with the DG. I have seen him in action in that group that the DG runs. And believe me, these people are all putting in, those of you who say seafarers families are here, these people are putting in huge amount of effort to get your family back and to send those who need to be employed back. Rest assured, nobody is sleeping easy, and everybody is at the job. Things take time, and we are grateful. And on behalf of the ship owners, I will also say we are grateful for the patience shown by all of you. I think with this, it is now my pleasure to ask Ms. Saleha, who is the head of the MUI Women's Wing, to propose a vote of thanks to all of the people who have spent time, contributed their minds and their thought. And over to you, Saleha.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Devli. And as we come to the end of our program, I would like to give my vote of thanks. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Amitabh Kumar, respected Madam Joshi, Mr. Amar Singh Thakur, all our exemplary speakers and webinar guests. Before I proceed with the vote of thanks, I seize this opportunity to mention that I'm very fortunate to be working with Mr. Amar Singh Thakur, who is a mentor of mentors. I say this because I see him mentor seafarers every single day in office. With a person as modest as him, he will never share these stories because he firmly believes that we don't talk about our work, rather our work speaks for itself. And we at the MUI are proud of this fact. So taking this subject further, I'm extremely pleased to share that the MUI launches a mentoring and coaching program custom made specially for the seafarer community. On behalf of the Maritime Union of India and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. In other words, one family that we call our maritime fraternity. I would like to thank our chief guest for today's session, Shri Amitabh Kumar ji, Director General of Shipping, for inspiring us towards a new initiative for the maritime industry. I would also like to acknowledge our gratitude to Madam H.K. Joshi, Chairman and Managing Director, the Shipping Corporation of India, for her very inspiring message. I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all our speakers today for sharing with us their mentoring strategies and giving us insights on how to proceed collectively with this subject further. I would like to express our sincere thanks to organizations that supported us today, namely INSA, FOSMA, MASA, NUSI, CMMI, IMEI, IWSF, Vista India, AAIMPA, and MAPS India. A big thank you to our media partners, Bhandarkar Publications and Marix Media. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record a hearty thanks to Bhandarkar Publications and HIMT for their guidance and technical support that they have extended to all of us today. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues at the MUI. I thank each one of them, especially my core team members at the Women's Wing, Pauru Chishtiukaji, Ilham Bharmal, and Lata Khatri. Finally, a big thank you to all our members in the audience today, especially our seafarers and their families who have stood with the MUI as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one large family at all times. May I just announce that the Maritime Trainers Guild has organized a 2-day course on training the e-trainer on 6th and 7th June. The details can be found on their website. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think with this, I think we come to the end of proceedings, and with the permission of Thakur Saab and Saleha and all of you, thank you once again. It was a pleasure listening to all of you, and stay safe, and we'll catch up soon. Have a good day.
Right, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Devli.
Thank you.
Thank you.